Oh, look where it reacted over there. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm following along with the Junk Journal July prompts and we are on day 12 in the Junk Journal. I've got my little pull out here and this is in conjunction with Meg Journals and Get Messy Art. So I am duly going to follow that and I am going to get messy today with some inks. So we are looking at packaging today. I've pulled out some packaging. Papers that you would expect to see from delivery boxes, so just scraps of paper. They come in all different textures, mainly recycled, mainly brown. This was from an envelope, this was from a paper bag, this was from gift wrap, and this is from a parcel. This is a paper bag, this is a stencil, but this is tissue paper. So I'm looking at this sort of thing and I'm wondering if I can change this and make it into some really nice collage papers, something of interest that isn't just brown. The colour palette that I seem to have gravitated towards is green and yellows, browns, and then I have needed to bring in the pink to satisfy the Junk Journal challenge this time round, which is to bring in pink. So we've got the greens and we've got the yellow tones, and then somehow I want to get in this baby pink. Alright, I've got a cardboard box and I've put some packaging paper in the bottom of it. I'm actually really interested about how this is going to turn out. Alright, I'm just putting some papers in here. I think they're all going to react quite differently. We'll do these ones first, and I've got some distress inks here that I've collected over the years. I've got some green toned ones there, and then I've got my yellow tones. So I've got fossilized amber, I've got spiced marmalade, that's more orange, and the only other yellowy one I've got is squeezed lemonade. So I'm going to have a look at that. First of all, I want to put down green, and I'm going to go with my darkest colour first and then build up to the oxide. So this one is Rustic Wilderness. So this one is a stain spray. It's Rustic Wilderness and it is not an oxide. I'm going to just splatter that about like that. Okay, that was fun. And now I've got some fossilized amber. Okay, just going to flick this around because I can't get the spray to work. Now there's something about the porous paper that seems to just suck up the ink and then leaves a really nice effect. Okay, that's looking good. And then I've also got my ground espresso, which is really dark. So we'll just bring a touch of that. And what was this one? Was squeezed lemonade. Oh look, that one's good. I think we might want some bigger splodges. And I've also got an iced spruce, which is a nice grey colour. So that mutes things down a bit. So I've got a different reaction happening on the different papers. So the papers are going to react differently. That's really exciting. I love that. And look on the back, got the smoky oxide on one side and then we've got the stain coming through on the back. Very cool. Let's just do a bit more. Alright, so that was fun. I'm slightly tempted to throw in some silver over on this side as well, so I'm just going to splat that around. Oh, look where it reacted over there. Alright, I'm going to go away and have a coffee and I will be back to see how this has dried. Okay, here are the papers. They've come back, they're all nice and dry, and it's a 2 for 1 because we've got a different colour on the back of them. So where the stain has seeped all the way through, we've got this darker green colour here. So I will be able to tear these papers and use either side. This was wrapping paper, it's got a slight coating on it and it didn't soak in. And this was where I got it caught there, you can see. And then around the edge we've got this bleed through of ink, with the chalky oxide finish on the top. So yeah, I've had a bit of a play around with them. Beautiful patina and lovely splatters, it's really nice. So they've come out sort of blue, green, teal colours, and the papers, the different papers, the more porous ones, have reacted differently. So that was a fun little session if you've got any oxide inks. And you could use the oxide ink pads as well if you put some down on a surface with some water spray and then dab it on. I would think you would get a similar reaction to that. Fun if you've got a spray and to do that in a box. And if you haven't got anything like this, don't need to invest in anything. Don't go rushing out and buy these things, because all it is water and pigment, and you can spray that on. If you're looking for an oxide effect, maybe you could get hold of a chalk paint and just water that down and flick that about and get a chalky finish as well. So that would be a different way of having a go. But these are now really lovely collage pieces of paper to use. I'm going to add them to the journal. Okay, and before I start adding them to a journal or coming up with an idea, I am bringing in my stencil. I thought I'd just have a play with this and see if I can add anything onto these pieces, particularly this one where it's quite dark. I thought that I could maybe have a go. Got a couple of white inks here. This one notoriously hasn't worked out very successfully for me, but you never know, it might just work on an oxide ink. So that is the Distress Picket Fence. So I'm not recommending it at this point, and I'm just going to put some water in there in case it's a little bit dry. But this one I know works quite nicely as a rule, but I've not put it over an oxide based tag or paper before, so I haven't really used that on its own, only on paper directly. So we'll try. Let's see if I can get anything here. I'm just using a makeup brush and I want to see if I can get anything. So it's going to lift up. Okay, all right, I don't think it's going to do what I want it to do. I think it's just going to lift up the colour underneath. Well, that's quite nice actually, because it is creating a pattern. But I think it's going to make my ink, what I don't want it to do is make my ink pad all filthy. Alright, so it is doing something, but it's not bright white or anything. It's just pulling up the colour from behind. So we have got some detail. Not really what I was expecting. So the picket fence has yet again not worked. I'm going to now try this Archival Brilliance, and that is in Moonlit White, and I'll just see if I can get any better results off of this one. I'm just going around in a circular motion just to see if I can get a little bit of detail off of this stencil. So this is a stencil by Stamperia, and it is one that I managed to get in a sale, so I was really pleased to find this. But any stencil will do. Any stencil will do. Any mark, any packaging that will make a mark, anything that you can get your hands on. Doesn't have to be a stencil. That's a bit better. Okay, that's a bit better, and I think I would tear down there. Okay, so I am now putting some die cuts on. I've used the Sizzix Tim Holtz Wildflowers die cuts. I've cut that out of the gold wrapping paper, and they are extremely fragile, so I'm just having to glue them on. I've just done that one just off camera to see if it was going to disintegrate under my glue here. I'm just using a PVA glue through an art glitter nozzle. This is just a watered down PVA glue, and I'm able to get there with this nice little applicator that you can buy from Art Glitter Glue, from their website or from online. But it is so fragile because it is just a piece of wrapping paper, gift wrap paper, and it's very likely to fall to pieces. So I'm just going to quickly stick that down. Sort of going to have to go wherever it landed really, because I haven't got any means of manoeuvring that. So just to bring you up to speed, I did try and splatter some of this pink spray around, but the oxide has just landed on the top. Where I've managed to get it elsewhere, it's gone pink, but it's just soaked into this paper, so it really hasn't done anything other than make a bit of a splodgy mess up the top there. So I really do not like that. I'm going to find something else. Okay, I've tried to add a bit more spray on the top there just to give a hint of pink. I'm not really able to bring it in any other way, and just because I would now like to move on to the next prompt, I am just going to put this down. This is the pinkest piece of fabric or sari silk that I've got to hand, so I'm just going to add that up there and hide that sort of funny area where it didn't quite work out, and give it sort of a grunge background, but now with a softer little piece, and actually that works. So I'm going to just lose the little bits off the end here, and that is that one done. And then what I want to do is I want to move on to the next prompt, which is going to be light followed by weather. So light and weather are the next prompts. Alright, prompt 13 is light, and what I had thought is that I would do a lampshade. So I've just taken this piece of scrap and I have lightly sketched an image of what I think will be a lampshade. So I'm just doing this lampshade here. This has just come off of packaging again, so hopefully when I embellish it, it'll flatten out a bit better. So this is going to become a lampshade. So I'm just taping this down. Hopefully you can see it, but what I'm going to do is use the scraps that I've already got from my previous prompt. This one's a bit thicker, so I'm going to put that to one side. It could be a pocket or a tuck, and I'm just going to focus on the scraps that I've got here and here. Okay, I'm taking my silicone glue and I'm just drawing on the lines that I've put here, guidelines, and just going to come up like this and then glue that piece. And then what I'm going to do is just add my scrap and see if I can get that to fit in. And where I haven't glued, I should be able to tear this away so that I can see my line, and then I will be able to glue down the next piece. So drawing in the line with the glue. Alright, so I've glued that, and now I'm adding in this scrap here. And then I'm going to see if I can tear this away a little bit. We'll cut it out in a moment, and then I'm just going to patchwork that piece in there. And then just pull this piece off. Alright, stick with me here because this is just about getting the scraps down where I want them. All right, and then we turn it over and we cut the shape out. Now this is strengthened up because it's got the paper on here, so we just cut out the shape. All right, and now I'm left with this piece, and what I'm going to do is I found this in my sewing box. I'm going to glue on the embellishment here. So I'm putting a nice thick bead of glue where I want to stick my embellished piece. Just get that around the right way. All right, now I'm able to stick on some embellishment piece here. This is something that I found in my sewing box, and it's pink, so I can bring this in, and then we'll just trim that off. Now I can just add this on the edge, pulling that all around there. I've only got a little bit left actually. I might be lucky enough just to get a bit on the top, and so we will trim that off. All right, and then just get enough on here, I think. Perhaps if I taper this in a little bit more. Okay, I want to embellish this even further, and I've got this. This is something that I found when I went on my little break to the Isle of Wight looking for bits and pieces, and I found this whole, look at this, absolutely, £2.50 for 5 metres, this tasseling I couldn't refuse. So I am pleased to say that I've finally got a project for it, and it comes like that, but if I cut that away, then I can make it thinner, and I'm hoping that I can fit that on there. So I just need a few lengths of this, and so we'll probably want a similar length. So just cut another piece off, and then I've just got to pull this bit out like that. We use those pieces for something else because they're quite cool. And I'll do this on the back. So this is just fun. This is the sort of thing that my grandmother used to hoard, and that looks really fun. So we just do that, and then I think I just want to bring in a few more bits for this piece. Just that is lovely. It could be a really cool journaling card, but I've just had another idea. So I've got a shorter page here. If I fit it in there, we're going to see this here, which is sort of interesting, but I'm thinking that I would like a little light stand there just to make that make more sense. All right, now I quite like a light stand, so I'm just going to tear this strip here. This is just a piece of packaging paper from Amazon parcel, and I'm wondering if I can come in and just make sort of a nice wibble wobble shape here, and then open it up. Okay, and now I'm going to alter this piece. I've got some brown packaging here, so I'm just going to take the glue stick and put this down, take the glue stick, stick on my brown. Now this looks nice and effective. I'm going to do the other side as well, just so that it's in the journal. It looks a little bit more like it could be a piece of leather or something, so we'll just go with that. This is just scrunched up tissue paper. It came I think, as packaging. All right, I've got my gilding wax here, so I'm just going to add that on. And where I've put a crinkled texture, you can just see, you can also see the crease, which isn't fantastic, but you know, what do you expect from a bit of packaging? All right, so this is my light for the prompt 13, and then the other prompt, the next prompt, is number 14, and that is weather. So what I want to do is make the reverse into a parasol, a summer parasol, vintage one, and for that I'm just going to draw the lines back in, get my pen, and we'll just, so where was it? It was there. So from this point up here, I'm just going to come round to the point there and then bring that down like that. So it's sort of like that. Okay, and then I've got a bit of silk ribbon here, so we're just working super scrappy. So super scrappy, I'm just going to put my stick glue down all over this. And then start putting this down here. One last little scrap going in there, and then we've got a very nice mixed media piece, and the colours all tie in, and it's all just lovely. Alright, I'm putting this all together. This is going to look like the little light stand for our lampshade. I'm just bringing that right down to the bottom, and it is tapered in, and then when I do this page that will get hidden, but for now it's just going to come and look a little bit like this. Clip that off there. And I'm just adding the number 13 there, which the tassels will obscure a little bit. And I'll also want to put in a sentiment, I think, maybe up the top there. And I've seen on the front of this ideology pack, which is Clippings sticker book, it says by the light of the moon, and I think that that's quite nice. I think it ties these two pages in because there's a little bit of a mystical stencil there, and I think if I do some silver splatters, that could be like the stars. And this reminds me of when you turn the light off at night, you still have the light of the moon. So I'm going to add that by the light of the moon. Just a little smear of silver gilding wax there, just to blend that into the page a bit. And that's the prompt for number 13 today. Really cool. And then from the party pack, I've cut all these pieces out. I quite like this. I'm probably going to have that there, so there's a bit of a backdrop, and it just looks a little bit more like it's wallpaper from behind, so we'll probably have that there for the next prompt. And then we've got this one here, and I just want to have a little tag hanging off of here, almost like this is something in a shop, and this is an old tag from a tea bag, so I'm just going to have that up there. And I want to see if I can put my numbers on here, which I've got some die cut numbers. I think they'll be fine. And it's got a little pointy finger on that one, so that's great. And then we'll just do the same there, so it's a bit vintage blending in. All right, so we have tackled number 12, packaging, number 13, light, and number 14, weather today. I've got a few pages left to do in this journal, so I will probably complete that and we'll see how we go. There's plenty of other things that I need to be getting on with this month, but I am enjoying this immensely. Just brings me back a little, gives you a little bit of ideas, allows me to play with different materials, just reminding myself that junk journaling is not just about paper, that the mixed media coming in is really super exciting to have a go at. So I have really enjoyed that with the die cuts there, the stencils, using trim and being able to repurpose the scraps that I made from a past project, and just looking at techniques with paint and all the effects that you can have. So this has been a really fun idea there for number 14, just to make use of the same shape for 2 prompts and bringing in this connectivity that I have also achieved over on these pages, where you can see the leopard there, and then you can see the leopard there, and then this way you can see through the window and then the scraps there. It's a lot of fun to have some interactive things in the journal just to bring in that whimsical feel. And here I'm going to be putting something homemade for the prompt tomorrow, which will be number 15 for day 15, homemade, and number 16 is petal. So I will be figuring that out and bringing you along for that. Thank you very much for watching today. Do please give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you'd like to follow along with the rest of my prompts here for the Junk Journal July Challenge. And above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.